What I'm about to tell you could be the difference between making a fortune and missing one of the biggest wealth transfers in modern history. I'm Kevin O'Leary, and I've spent decades building businesses, investing in markets, and making money in every condition imaginable. I've seen booms, I've seen busts, and I've learned one thing that separates the rich from everyone else: timing. And right now we are sitting on a powder keg with silver, and most people have no idea what's coming. Before I dive into the details, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that subscribe button. Smash it. Join this community. Because what we talk about here isn't the garbage you hear on mainstream financial news. This is real talk from someone who actually puts money where his mouth is. I need you in this conversation because we're building something here, a group of people who understand that wealth isn't given, it's taken by those who pay attention. So subscribe, become a member, and let's get into this. Now let me tell you about silver. Most people think of silver as the poor cousin of gold. They think it's just some shiny metal that sits there doing nothing. Dead wrong. Silver is one of the most undervalued, underappreciated assets on the planet right now. And the setup we're looking at is unlike anything I've seen in my entire career. We're not talking about a nice little 10% gain here. We're talking about the potential for explosive, life-changing returns. And I'm going to explain exactly why. First, you need to understand supply and demand. This is basic business, basic economics, but people forget the fundamentals when they get distracted by the latest crypto craze or tech stock bubble. Silver is different. Silver is real. You can hold it. You can use it. And here's the kicker. We're running out of it. I'm not being dramatic. The world is consuming more silver than we're pulling out of the ground. Every single year, we have a supply deficit. Think about what that means. Demand is outstripping supply, and this isn't a temporary blip. This is structural. Why is demand so high? Because silver isn't just jewelry and coins anymore. Silver is in everything. Your phone, your computer, your car, especially if it's electric. Solar panels eat up massive amounts of silver. Every single panel uses it because silver is the best conductor of electricity we have. As the world rushes toward green energy, as governments throw trillions of dollars at solar installations, where do you think that silver is coming from? The supply is tight, and it's getting tighter. Let me give you some numbers because I'm a numbers guy. Global silver mine production has been flat to declining for years. We're not discovering new massive silver deposits like we used to. The easy silver has been mined. What's left is harder to get, more expensive to extract. Meanwhile, industrial demand is soaring. The Silver Institute reports that industrial demand for silver hit record highs, and it's not slowing down. This is a freight train, and it's picking up speed. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Silver is also money. It's been money for thousands of years. When people lose faith in paper currencies, when they see inflation eating away at their savings, they run to real assets. Gold gets all the attention, sure, but silver is the working man's gold. It's affordable. You can buy an ounce of silver for around $30, maybe $40, depending on the day. Compare that to gold at over $2,000 an ounce. Which one can the average person actually accumulate? Silver. I've been watching the macro environment very closely, and let me tell you, the conditions are perfect for a silver explosion. Central banks around the world have printed money like it's going out of style. Trillions upon trillions of dollars, euros, yen, you name it. That money doesn't just disappear, it flows into assets, it creates inflation. And when people realize their cash is losing value every single day, they look for stores of value. Silver is one of the best stores of value you can find because it has that dual purpose. It's an industrial metal and it's a monetary metal. The smart money is already positioning. I'm talking about billionaires, hedge funds, family offices. They're accumulating physical silver quietly. They're not shouting about it on television. They're not writing press releases. They're buying and they're holding. Why? Because they understand what's coming. They understand that when this market turns, it's going to turn fast and there won't be enough silver to go around. Here's something else you need to know. The paper silver market is a joke. I'm talking about the futures market, the COMEX, where banks and traders push around contracts that represent silver that doesn't even exist. The leverage in that market is insane. There are claims on far more silver than there is actual physical metal. It's a house of cards. One day someone is going to demand delivery and the whole thing is going to collapse. When that happens, the price of physical silver is going to decouple from the paper price and it's going to go vertical. I've seen this movie before in other markets. When supply can't meet demand, prices don't move in a nice, orderly fashion. They explode, they gap up. You wake up one morning and silver is $50, then $70, then $100. If you're not positioned before that happens, you're too late. The gains happen so fast that by the time you react, you've missed it. This isn't speculation. This is looking at the fundamentals and connecting the dots. We have declining supply, surging demand, currency debasement, and a rigged paper market that's ready to break. Every piece of this puzzle is falling into place, and yet most people are completely asleep. They're chasing meme stocks and buying things they don't understand. Meanwhile, the real opportunity is sitting right in front of them and they're ignoring it. Now, I'm not telling you to bet the farm on silver. I never tell people to put all their eggs in one basket. That's stupid. That's not how you build wealth. But what I am telling you is that silver deserves a serious position in your portfolio. 5%, 10%, maybe more depending on your situation. You need to own physical silver, not paper contracts, not ETFs that claim to hold silver but might not, actual coins or bars that you can hold in your hand. The window is closing. Every day that goes by, more people wake up to this opportunity. More people start buying. And when the masses finally figure it out, when the herd stampedes into silver, you want to already be there. You want to be the guy who bought early and rode the wave, not the guy who showed up late and paid top dollar. Let me tell you something else that's happening right now, something that most people aren't paying attention to. The geopolitical landscape is shifting in ways that are going to make silver absolutely critical, and I mean critical to national security. This isn't just about making money anymore. This is about countries realizing that whoever controls the silver supply controls the future of technology and energy. Let me explain what I mean, because this is where things get really serious. China has been buying up silver mining operations around the world for years. They're not stupid. They understand that silver is strategic. They need it for their solar ambitions, their electric vehicle plans, their electronics manufacturing. China is the world's factory, and silver is one of the raw materials they need to keep that factory running. They've been securing supply chains while the West has been asleep at the wheel. When you have the world's second largest economy hoarding a critical resource, what do you think happens to the price? It goes up. Simple as that. Now let's talk about what's happening in the United States and Europe. Governments are finally waking up to the fact that they've become dangerously dependent on foreign sources for critical materials. Silver is on that list. The push for domestic supply chains, for reshoring manufacturing, for energy independence, all of that requires silver. Massive amounts of it. The infrastructure bills, the green energy mandates, the subsidies for solar and electric vehicles, every single one of those programs is going to consume silver at rates we've never seen before. Here's where it gets even more interesting. The military applications of silver are huge. Silver is used in missiles, in radar systems, in communications equipment. As tensions rise around the world, as defense budgets expand, military demand for silver is going up. This isn't civilian demand we're talking about anymore. This is governments competing for limited supply. And when governments start bidding against each other, price becomes irrelevant. They'll pay whatever it takes to secure what they need. Let me give you a real-world example of what I'm talking about. Look at what happened with palladium a few years ago. Palladium is used in catalytic converters for cars. Supply got tight, demand kept growing, and the price went from around $500 an ounce to nearly $3,000 an ounce in just a few years. It exploded. Silver has an even bigger supply and demand imbalance than palladium ever had, and it has more uses, more applications, more reasons for the price to go parabolic. The other thing people don't understand is the gold to silver ratio. Historically, this ratio has averaged around 15 to 1. That means 15 ounces of silver would buy you 1 ounce of gold. Right now, that ratio is way out of whack. It's been sitting at 70 to 1, 80 to 1, sometimes even higher. This tells you that silver is dramatically undervalued relative to gold. When this ratio reverts to the mean, and it always does eventually, silver is going to make up a lot of ground very fast. If gold stays where it is and silver just catches up to historical norms, we're looking at massive gains. I've been in the investment game long enough to know that markets don't move in straight lines. There will be volatility, there will be pullbacks, but the long-term trajectory for silver is clear, up. The question isn't if silver is going to explode. The question is when and how high. I believe we're in the early stages of a bull market in silver that could last for years. This isn't a quick flip. This is a generational opportunity to build real wealth. Now let's talk about something that makes me really excited. The technology sector's appetite for silver is insatiable. Every advancement in technology requires more silver, not less. 5G networks, they need silver. Artificial intelligence infrastructure, data centers, all that hardware, silver. The Internet of Things, billions of connected devices, every single one of them uses silver. Medical applications, silver is antimicrobial. It's used in wound dressings and medical devices. The list goes on and on. What people don't realize is that silver is irreplaceable in most of these applications. Scientists have tried to find substitutes. They've looked at copper, at other metals, but nothing performs like silver. It's the best thermal conductor, the best electrical conductor. When you need the absolute best performance, you use silver. There's no way around it. That means demand is inelastic. It doesn't matter if the price goes up. Industries will pay it because they have no choice. Let me tell you what keeps me up at night, or actually what should keep you up at night if you're not positioned in silver. The banking system. I've watched the banking sector for decades, and what I'm seeing right now is concerning. We've had bank failures, we've had credit crunches, and the Federal Reserve keeps stepping in to prop things up. But every time they print more money to solve a crisis, they're devaluing the currency, they're destroying purchasing power. Silver is insurance against that. It's a hedge against the incompetence of central bankers who think they can print prosperity. When I look at the debt levels in the United States, in Europe, in Japan, I see countries that are drowning. They can't pay off their debts with legitimate economic growth, so they're going to inflate their way out. They're going to print money until the debt becomes manageable in nominal terms. But that means your savings, your retirement, everything denominated in those currencies is getting destroyed. You need real assets. You need things that hold value when paper currencies fall apart. Silver is one of the best options you have. I want to address something that skeptics always bring up. They say, Kevin, if silver is so great, why isn't everyone buying it? Good question. Here's the answer. Most people are financially illiterate. They don't understand markets. They don't understand supply and demand. They've been conditioned to trust the stock market, to trust their financial advisor who's selling them mutual funds with high fees. They don't think for themselves. They follow the herd, and the herd is always late. By the time the average person figures out that silver is the place to be, the easy money will have already been made. The media doesn't help either. They're not talking about silver because it doesn't fit their narrative. They want to talk about the latest tech IPO or whatever nonsense is trending on social media. They're not doing real financial journalism. They're entertainment. If you're waiting for CNBC to tell you to buy silver, you're going to be waiting until it's too late. You need to be ahead of the curve, not behind it. Here's what I do. I allocate a portion of my portfolio to physical silver. I buy coins, I buy bars, and I store them securely. I don't trust banks to hold it for me. I don't trust vaults that I can't verify. I want to know that my silver is there, that it's real, that I can access it if I need to. This is about protecting wealth, about having a plan B when the financial system goes haywire. And trust me, it will go haywire. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Now, some of you might be thinking, what about silver mining stocks? Can't I just buy those instead of physical silver? You can, and there's a place for mining stocks in a diversified portfolio. But here's the thing, mining stocks are still stocks. They're subject to market crashes, to bad management, to operational problems. Physical silver is silver. It doesn't have earnings reports. It doesn't have a CEO who can screw things up. It just sits there holding value. That's the difference. If you do want exposure to mining stocks, and I think there's merit in having some, you need to be selective. You need to look at companies with low costs, with proven reserves, with management teams that know what they're doing. You need to do your homework. Don't just buy a basket of silver miners and hope for the best. That's lazy investing, and lazy investing loses money. Let me tell you about something else that's happening in the market right now that most people have completely missed. The retail investment community is starting to wake up. And when I say wake up, I mean they're beginning to understand what institutional investors have known for a while. There's a movement happening. People are buying physical silver in quantities we haven't seen before. Coin dealers are running low on inventory. Premiums over spot price are elevated. This tells you something important. The physical market is tight, very tight. When you can't get your hands on the actual metal, when dealers are back ordered for weeks, that's a signal. That's the market telling you that demand is overwhelming supply. I've talked to dealers, I've talked to refiners, and they're all saying the same thing. They can't keep up. Mints around the world are running at full capacity, and they still can't produce enough coins and bars to meet demand. The United States Mint, the Royal Canadian Mint, the Perth Mint in Australia, they're all struggling. This is unprecedented. We've never seen this kind of sustained physical demand before, and it's not letting up. It's accelerating. Now, here's what this means for price. Right now, there's a disconnect between the paper price of silver and what you actually have to pay to get physical silver in your hands. That spread, that premium, it's telling you that the real price of silver is higher than what the exchanges are showing. Eventually, that disconnect resolves itself. The paper market catches up to physical reality, or the paper market becomes irrelevant. Either way, the price is going higher. Let me give you my prediction, and I don't make predictions lightly. I think we're going to see silver hit $50 an ounce within the next couple of years. That's not crazy. Silver hit 50 back in 2011 during the last bull market. But here's the difference. The fundamentals today are far stronger than they were back then. The supply and demand imbalance is worse. The monetary environment is more precarious. The industrial demand is higher. If we hit 50 this time, I don't think it stops there. I think we could see silver at 75, at 100, maybe even higher depending on how things play out. Think about what that means for you. If you buy silver today at $40 an ounce and it goes to 100, you've made 150% on your money. That's real wealth creation. That's not some speculative bet on a company that might or might not succeed. That's a hard asset with real demand appreciating because of fundamental factors. This is how smart investors make money. They identify asymmetric opportunities where the upside far exceeds the downside, and they position themselves accordingly. But I need to be honest with you about the risks, because I'm not here to sell you a fairy tale. Silver is volatile. It can swing 10, 15, 20% in a matter of weeks. If you can't handle that volatility, if you're going to panic and sell at the bottom, then silver might not be for you. This is for people who understand that short-term noise doesn't matter. What matters is the long-term trend, and the long-term trend is up. The other risk is opportunity cost. If you put money into silver and the stock market rips higher, you might feel like you missed out. That's fine. You can't be in everything. You have to make choices. I'm not saying put all your money in silver. I'm saying it deserves a meaningful allocation. You balance your portfolio, you have some stocks, some real estate, some bonds maybe, and you have some precious metals. That's how you build a resilient portfolio that can weather any storm. Here's what you need to do right now. First, educate yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go look at the supply and demand numbers. Read reports from the Silver Institute. Look at industrial consumption data. Do your own research. When you understand the fundamentals, you'll have conviction. And conviction is what keeps you in the trade when everyone else is panicking. Second, start accumulating physical silver. Don't wait for the perfect entry point. There is no perfect entry point. You dollar cost average. You buy a little bit every month. Over time, you build a position. You want to own silver before the herd figures it out, not after. Find a reputable dealer. Buy recognized coins like American Silver Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, or bars from known refiners. Make sure you're getting real silver, not some counterfeit garbage. Third, think about storage. If you're buying small amounts, you can keep it at home in a safe. If you're buying larger amounts, you might want to look at private vault storage. Do not keep it in a bank safe deposit box. Banks can freeze access to those boxes. You want control. You want to be able to get to your silver whenever you need it. This is your insurance policy. Treat it accordingly. Fourth, be patient. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a strategic position that could take months or years to play out. The market doesn't move on your timeline. It moves when it's ready. Your job is to be positioned when it does. Don't check the price every day. Don't obsess over every little dip. Stay focused on the big picture. Now, I want to address the people who think they've missed the boat. You haven't. We're still early. When silver is at $200 an ounce and everyone is talking about it, then you'll have missed it. But right now, most people don't own any silver. Most people don't even think about it. That means there's still time. There's still opportunity. But that window is closing. Every day that passes, more people figure it out. The smart money is already in. The question is, are you going to join them or are you going to watch from the sidelines? Let me tell you something about wealth. Wealth isn't created by following the crowd. Wealth is created by seeing opportunities before everyone else does and having the courage to act. The crowd laughed at the people who bought Bitcoin at $100. They laughed at the people who bought Amazon at $10 a share. They'll laugh at you for buying silver at $40 an ounce. Let them laugh. You'll have the last laugh when you're sitting on gains that changed your financial life. I've made a career out of being right when others were wrong. I've built companies. I've invested in markets around the world, and I've learned to trust my analysis. When I look at silver, I see one of the clearest setups I've ever seen. All the pieces are in place. Supply is declining. Demand is exploding. Governments are printing money. The paper market is fragile. This is a perfect storm, and we're right in the middle of it. Here's my final word to you. Don't let fear or indecision cost you this opportunity. I'm not telling you to be reckless. I'm telling you to be smart. Allocate a portion of your wealth to something real, something tangible, something that's been money for thousands of years. Silver has stood the test of time. It will be here long after the latest fad investment has come and gone. Before you go, I need you to do something. If this video made sense to you, if you understand the opportunity in front of us, I need you to hit that like button right now. Smash it. It tells the algorithm that this content matters, and it helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. Go to the comments and tell me, are you buying silver? What's your strategy? I want to hear from you. I want to build a community